All right, hello YouTubers. So instead of making videos, I decided, one second. Sometimes it's difficult to hear outside noise. Okay, so instead of making videos, I decided to just go live because it's a little bit easier to get my points across. So today the topic is life on life's terms. So in more and more often, I'm running into people who are having an issue with accepting things, acceptance, which is, I have an issue with it every single day. It is something that we have to practice, or I have to practice. I'm going to speak in I statements. I have to practice acceptance every day. I have to practice being grateful for the things that I've been given. And if I'm not grateful, then I'm going to be mad or I'm going to get upset. So one point or a concept I wanted to make sure that I talked about today was codependency. So I've been codependent forever. Like I've been codependent since as long as I can remember. I've always needed someone to value. How I'm working on that now is to become autonomous. So autonomy is basically being self-sufficient. I need to have my own things. I need to have my own place to stay, my own means of getting around. And although I'm not completely autonomous yet, I look forward to being autonomous completely in maybe the next couple of months. I'm just paying off a bunch of bills and a bunch of things that I have kind of set aside for a really, really long time. Anyway, so I'm running into all these people that are having an issue with relationships. Codependency is a breeding ground for relationships. It loves relationships. If you were to think of codependency as a person, it would be similar to misery, I think, because I am depending on another person outside of myself. I'm depending on something outside of myself to help me to get something or to acquire something or help me to live or help me to, give me a place to stay or to eat. It's always someone else that is taking care of me. And so relationships are, for me, they're just, if I'm ready to get married, that's when I'm going to get into a relationship, because to get into a relationship is basically you're saying, okay, I'm going to try to go along with this person and I'm going to try to make this person the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because when you're dating, if you're dating someone, you're not kissing them. Not kissing them. You're not just having sex. Like, to date someone does not mean that I'm just going to have sex with one person. That is what it basically means, but it also means that that person is another whole. A whole meaning a whole person, like they fulfilled themselves and they are living autonomously on their own. If I am a half, meaning I'm still trying to get my shit together, or stuff, my stuff together, and I go for another person that's trying to get their stuff together, then that would be, it's two halves make a whole, right? Wrong. In relationships, there should be two wholes. So two people who are completely autonomous, have no needs from the other person except for the fact of their companionship and the love. So if I am struggling to keep this person, like, how would you say this? If I'm struggling to be in a relationship because of money, because of like anything temporal, anything of the world, money, cars, my phone bill, all of those things, if I have to depend on another person to pay those things, then I am not autonomous. And if I am going to move into a relationship with somebody who is or is not autonomous, let's go to is not autonomous first. If they are not autonomous, they are going to be looking for the things that they are missing to complete their autonomy, I should say, in me. And if I don't have those things, I could be missing out on a great connections, because that person could be, that later on in the line, that person could have a lot of meaning for me. Excuse me. Oh, so for me to be completely autonomous is very important in being in a relationship. And so I'm not going to say that I'm a relationship guru. I'm not by any means good at relationships for that matter. But I have learned quite. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about a friend that I've recently talked to. So this friend is she's around the same age as me, and she has these issues with so the guy treats her badly. He does not fulfill her in any which way. He just kind of stays at her house and does not pay rent, he doesn't do anything. And he's basically a moocher, but he is apparently he's some sort of musician. So being a musician, I'm a musician. I've actually been singing for a number of years, and I have always managed to pay my rent or pay my phone bill. Like, it's not, those things come first. And music is, although it is so fun to do, and I love to create music, it is also not extremely lucrative if you're just beginning. You have to get your footing. You have to, you have to meet people. You have to sign contracts, and you have to get, even if you're not even getting to the contract part, like before that, doing gigs, like booking yourself, and just making sure making sure you have jobs. It's very few and far between, and it takes a lot to find that niche that you need in order to be a musician. And so if their music is not taking off, excuse me, and he is staying at somebody's house, he is not autonomous. Mind you, the house that they're staying in is not their house to begin with. So for my friend and her boyfriend, they both are not autonomous, and they are both two halves creating a whole. That creates a lot of tension between them, I feel. She's expressed quite a few things that he's done, and a lot of the times he makes excuses. He justifies things that he should be doing, but he doesn't. So in that case, my friend should not be relying on this man to fulfill the things that she needs fulfilled, because he obviously does not have them. He does not have the stability to stay where she is, and he also does not have the stability to pay rent or help her in any way. And not to say that money is a factor in a relationship, but if I can't pay my own way, then it's kind of difficult to expect someone else to. And if I am expecting someone else to, then I'm putting myself in their hands, and I have no control over them. The only person I have control over is myself. And so if I can do it myself, then I should do it, because I have control over that. I can control when I go. I can control where I go and what I do. I'm really tired. Okay, so finding that balance is definitely important. Just a little bit more. I'm just gonna make these like maybe 15 minutes. It's like just a short one. So in my experience with relationships and people, I'm a control freak. I'm a Virgo. I come from a family of like organization. We all play sports. We just, organized. I've moved a number of times. I've been very how to say that, like organized. I'm an organized person. So being that person, the person that wants everything in order and the way it's supposed to be chronologically or whatever, however it's supposed to be, I cannot. It's difficult for me to relinquish control to another person because I have no control. If I can do it myself, I would much rather do it. And even it comes to a fault sometimes because I'll end up doing something for the person and inevitably enabling them to be lazy or to just not do the thing that they were supposed to do. So that is also a huge thing that I need to be aware of, is not to overstep my boundaries. I need to set boundaries, firm boundaries, which I am by no means good at. And those firm boundaries need to stand firm. I cannot give no. I think in the beginning, while I'm starting to do this, I'm going to set goals for myself. So in the beginning, I'm not going to give in at all. It's going to be a no. If anyone asks me for money, if anyone asks, even like people on the street, I give. Oh, excuse me. I give a lot of money. I think maybe even $20 to $30 a week to the homeless, and it's not even like, I just go out there handing out money. Like if they ask me for $1 and I have $1, I usually don't carry cash, but if I do have $1, I'll give it to them. Or if I have a few quarters, I'll give them the money. But in this case, I would need to exercise boundaries and to not give them money. Or if any of my friends ask me for money, borrow, whatever, I need to set boundaries and say no. So I think becoming strong in my base first is going to be key, because I need to build myself up in order to become autonomous. That way, when I am autonomous, I will have built a foundation sturdy enough. Oh, excuse me. So, in order, there is a song that I used to sing in church. Okay. It is called "The Wise Man Built His House Upon the Rock." So, when any kind of organized religion talks about a rock and they talk about their higher power being their rock, that rock will be the sturdy base for their autonomy. Because if I'm going to be self-sufficient, I'm going to need help. And so that's what normally people in an organized religion would rely on. And so if I'm going to think about things logically and not in a spiritual notion, I want to think about them and as worldly as possible, because in this case, I would need to budget. I would need to have all of these things organized and put in order. So I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to come on and video log or go live and video log the things that I'm learning. And that way, if anyone else has any questions or you have anything to add, that would be awesome, because I need, I'm trying to do this thing by myself, this whole, I don't know, like drug thing. I've been a drug addict for years, and it's coming to the point where nothing works for me. I've been to 3 different rehabs, including one rehab that was supposed to be like one of the hardest in the nation, and I completed the inpatient but did not complete the outpatient twice. And so I think rehab has taught me, basically what they could, and I've taken the base from what they've told me and applied it to my life. So the question remains, how do you stop? And I think that it is definitely a question of willingness, for sure. Being honest with myself and just being open-minded. So I'm going to do this every day, video log every day. Sign in if you want to, leave a little comment or subscribe. So that way we can keep in contact and I can see, what kind of suggestions are going to be put out there for me, because it's becoming really, really difficult for me to function without it. And I don't like to have vices. I don't like to have things that I have to do in order to function or to be, out and about. So subscribe if you can. I accept all the help that I can get. And I've made the goal that I'm going to set a goal for the week and a concept to work on as well. So the concept this week is probably going to be gratitude. I need a lot more of that. So I'll work on my gratitude this week, and I'll learn some coping skills and some techniques to become more grateful. And the concept. And then what I'm going to work on is becoming more, setting firmer boundaries, saying no, even just being strict about the things that I do and the people that I surround myself with. So till tomorrow, and this will be every day. So I'll do this same topic for the whole week. Yeah.